Hello and welcome to your twin flame reading for the divine masculine and the divine feminine and the current union energy going on between you and your twin flame. And yeah, it's been a little while since I've been making a video, so I'm very happy to be back and making one. I could give you an update as to why and all that, but I'm not so sure you care, and life happens, right? But yeah, no, I mean, maybe you do care, and that's very nice if you do. But anyways, it's gonna be Valentine's Day pretty soon, so I really wanted to focus on the romance between you and your twin flame for your union. And that is why I drew a roomie card to focus on, and my cat is so excited over here. I hope that she remains quiet, but we'll see. And then I have two chakra reading cards by Rochelle Sharman, both for the divine masculine. We have this pretty pink crystal strawberry quartz here, and then we have some citrine for the divine feminine, and that's what's going on. Oh, and the selenite. Well, we have some other crystals too. Okay. And even a crystal, what do you call that? Candle holder. Yes. I feel like, well, just quick astrology. You may have heard Mercury's in retrograde right now. At the time of this recording, it's like it just is the beginning of the 4th of February. And, Venus just moved into Aquarius along with Mercury, so there's this sense of really kind of like this going deep with universal love. So it's like loving your twin flame. How can you apply everything that you've learned in relationships and go deeper with that with your twin flame? And of course, romantically speaking, that's really only meant for your twin flame and you. So if you don't know who your twin flame is, then maybe you're exploring. If you do, I suggest closing energy leaks, but you'll learn one way or the other. So cool. Yeah, romance is in the air. Just pretend like there's some nice rose petals like fluttering down here. I think I'll get some for next time. My rose bush is starting to bloom, actually. Didn't think about that, but that's okay. So let's start with the cards. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the Divine Feminine today. The Divine Feminine's chakra reading card is going to be Psychic Development. Yes, well, that's cool, and I concur with this, right? I've just been thinking about how you don't necessarily want stuff hanging out in your third eye. That's not really like the point of seeing clearly. So psychic development meaning just more clarity, and clarity like in that particular place, this particular chakra, which is, where your third eye is probably. And not needing for it to be some crazy epic thing where, you see visions of like the future child that your best friend is going to have and need to tell her about it and see if you're right 2 years later or whatever. There are things that happen like that. I mean, there's a lot of explanations, and some people have, real particular gifts, and that's important to acknowledge. But the thing about these gifts is that they come with a responsibility, and so it's easy to lose sight of that. And so I think this is about actually grounding that responsibility, but your third eye, the process of psychic development is actually a very grounding process if you're doing it with the divine, and if you're not just trying to go up and up to grab something kind of thing, which isn't the way to do it. yeah, and this is really attractive to your twin flame because if you're tapping into your intuition and your feelings, being the divine feminine, that's like very powerful. It's very powerful for, you can psychically develop as a masculine too. So it's just, you have to feel into also what's true for you. I mean, you don't want to necessarily let ways that women and men are perceived define you, but pay attention to that too and what truly does feel good about it, because I think sometimes we get a little bit defensive because of all of the things that get attached to, I guess, these stereotypes, which, oftentimes there is some truth to them once you heal through it and you're kind of like done trying to like defend against it or have everything be equal in a way that's not actually equal, because like you're not taking into account the actuality of the divine masculine and divine feminine energy. I guess that's what I'm speaking to specifically, but this could apply to a lot of different kinds of things in life. Of course, this is a DM and DF reading, so yeah, I think that this really brings up the psychic development in terms of you claiming who you are, like how you were created, and that like you're gonna receive vision based on that and trusting that more from the divine. So that feels good. So yeah, let's move on to the divine masculine. The divine masculine's card is I am present. So this is about being present. This is about and this is both sides here, higher chakras, right? But presence, of course, is also about grounding at the same time, and this is a pretty grounding scene right here as well. And also heart opening too. So yeah, it's just about letting your presence be enough. And I believe what this is also saying is that the divine masculine at this time is holding some presence, like developing this skill. And while his divine feminine, the divine feminine is developing her psychic development skill. It's funny, it says development right there. It's probably why I said it. But anyways, these things don't need to be hard things to do. Sometimes the thing that you resist doing, maybe for your life purpose, maybe for your harmonious twin flame union, is really like the simple thing that ego gets in the way. You think you need to do something else. You're told a million times you're not good enough at this, being present, let's say. You're always checked out. You're always daydreaming. What are you doing over there, little Johnny? I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So it's like, well, maybe Johnny was being really actually very present, but was kind of got confused and about some incident as a kid. So I think this is also about reclaiming your inner child presence too, because that brings a very important piece to the table. And again, this is very important. Like, there's a lot going on here in this dynamic between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, of the divine masculine, holding space and allowing the divine feminine to develop some gifts there, and letting it just be a simple process for both of you and like feel really good. And there can be a lot of depth in the simplicity. So this feels really juicy, really good. And we're gonna move on now to the Ruby card. Probably gonna read some of the booklet. Let's see. And let's also take a moment to appreciate this labradorite, because it's fun to do. Alright, okay, I think I got my fix. So okay, let's move on. Ooh, the Cloak of Christ. Now, I love this card because this card is always like basically saying you better relax, like it's time to let yourself off the hook And yeah, like if you've been feeling kind of put out in the ways that you're pushing yourself, that's not a bad thing at all. But now it's time to maybe perhaps retreat in that particular area that you have been developing, stretching, whatnot, and know that that's okay. So this is really a reassurance. Like for me, I did actually get probably just like enough sleep, which is a good thing, and what I should be doing, right? But I felt like I was sleeping extra because of my sleep schedule, and I also wanted to do other things, but it was just very clear to me, like upheaval. So, and it actually worked out great because I had more energy afterwards, and I focused it on my business, and it went okay. It went pretty well, and I think that it definitely would not have gone so well if I had just been like, no, I need to get this done, even though like I can't really function right now. So it's just about really being compassionate with yourself and learning to go with that flow, like more trust in yourself, more trust in developing your self-discipline too, but knowing that self-discipline doesn't necessarily mean adhering to something that is just like, it's just not working. It's not the correct move. It doesn't feel correct at all. And so then you can retreat deeply within and regenerate in that place, and know that that has a purpose. Like it's not just to go in vacation mode for maybe it is for you for however long, but yeah, there's just a rejuvenating process happening. And if you let it happen completely, instead of just kind of being like, oh, well, I'll just give myself enough. Yeah, you want to just give yourself enough in a way, like you don't want to overdo it, and maybe you have the next thing to move on to, but you do want to give yourself enough space. And that's really what it comes down to. And what the underlying meaning of this card is give yourself enough love, give yourself enough space, give yourself enough rest, and move forward from that place, because what you will be able to give will be much better, and it'll keep getting better. Like, just give from where you're at and from that enoughness that you've cultivated. Like today, like, do I want to admit this? It's probably like a silly thing to not admit, but I made a meme, I guess you call it a meme, for romance readings, which I guess I'll take this opportunity now that I'm talking about this. Yes, romance readings for Valentine's Day. Highly suggest. Reading sessions are super juicy, and I can look at your astrology, your destiny cards on the spot, or pull cards, go over what's going on for you in your twin flame, work through blocks, whatever is really coming up for you. So I really recommend doing that. And I also do romance reading reports as well, and I have a variety of those, so you can check them out. Links below. A nice thing to do for yourself for the romantic season of Valentine's Day, along with whatever else you're gonna do. Flowers for yourself, chocolate cake, maybe your twin flame's gonna bring you something. So either way, it's perfect. You're just gonna go ahead and love yourself. Maybe both. Don't just because your twin flame's getting you something, don't let it stop you from getting whatever else you want, if that's the case too. So yeah, just it's a good time to really give, and to also give to yourself. It's God, you, and then your twin flame. So give to God and see what God is calling for you to give to yourself. And so yeah, back to my little story, is just that I was making a meme for romance readings, and I was really enjoying it. It's really a beautiful meme for the most part, but I just, clicked, I doubled a layer, and I purposefully put it so there was a shadow of one layer over the other, so not right on top of each other. But I noticed after I put it out that it wasn't exactly how I wanted it. Like the top frame was a couple clicks over more than the bottom one, and I was like, A, is anyone gonna notice this? I don't know. B, like, what am I gonna do? Take it down because of that? That doesn't feel good. I mean, maybe later. Sometimes if I have multiple images that are similar on my Instagram, I'll go back through later and take some down or whatever. But I just was like, this is what I have to give right now. And I don't know, like, I know that my last image did really well, and I was really pleased with it, and had a very good experience with it. And this one is nice, but maybe it's not the one, maybe it is, but it doesn't mean that I shouldn't put it out there because I did it with enough love, it's enough. And if I can do whatever I want about it later, but this is what it is. And yeah, now that I'm talking about it, it's like, well, there's a reason that I didn't notice it until I noticed it too. But it's also about then bringing that presence back to yourself, like bringing that gift back to yourself, and going deeper with that, with like, okay, now, I have this new awareness, even on a deeper level, about, really being present when I'm creating, especially for my business, because I'm not going to necessarily get a second chance. It's a very fast-paced thing. If you have your own business or even work for another, it's like you want to get stuff out there usually, unless it's a real long-term thing. So yeah, just being more aware. And again, the psychic development, these both come into play clearly for both parties, right? But there's also something to be said about having that intuition, the feeling about what to do next, and going with it. Sometimes you have to go with the flow, and I know I have to work through blocks personally to that sometimes, because it's like, oh, it's not perfect, and that's good to develop perfection, but not be a perfectionist. And so developing this your third eye and everything, having a clear third eye really helps with just that divine, like there's an image on a particular tarot deck that's like a man moving from one rock to another, like on a stream or something, and it's just like that. It's like, you don't worry about how your last step went from one rock to the other. You just rebalance yourself, make sure you're good to go, and you move on to the next. And maybe you don't have to, because maybe you're just going on to the next. And that feels good, right? It doesn't feel good to overthink it. So yeah, that's my story on that. And the Cloak of Christ. Well, let's wrap this reading up now with a little bit on that. And that's number 4 too. So it's also about foundation. It's about developing your foundation, and sometimes that does involve a little bit of R&R. The Rumi poem that goes along, let me just flash this. Okay. The Cloak of Christ. In the school of humanity, when you become intimate with God, you reside on the king's throne and teach the angels the nature of the divine. Yep. And let's just read a little bit here. It says, okay, that's not good. Can you allow yourself to take refuge in this knowledge, to feel it not only as an idea, nourishing as that is, but as a visceral reality where you complete the sacred honoring ritual, and allow yourself to feel the peace and receive healing? The knowledge of Christ's unconditional love for you is a safe space, a place to fall into when you are struggling. It is a sacred container for your healing process, an energetic field that is stronger and more enduring than even the greatest fears or doubts. So, the sacred honoring ritual is basically, it's like you really are like kind of you can put an imaginary cloak on you and really invite the Christ consciousness into your heart and just be present, but also like give yourself space, like kind of like privacy, I guess, and don't be afraid to do that. And I know some things have been coming up for me around miscommunication. I'm not sure about certain things. I mean, this is very Mercury retrograde stuff, right? Or even I was just cleaning up some technological stuff too, organizing that. So it's a nice time to, if you find yourself unsure or getting, having some insecurities about or feeling a little ungrounded in certain places, just don't allow ego in there. Don't allow yourself to feel that way. It's okay to feel that way and to feel through it, but don't allow it to like be how you feel. Like, feel through it. Just be present with it. Be present. And then, give yourself space. Give yourself a little mini retreat. Like, when I was a kid, my parents had a friend who, made me one day, it was a sunny day, and he made me like a Disneyland fort out of towels and a lounge chair kind of situation. And he just brought me drinks and like pretended like I was in Disneyland. And now I feel like I'm gonna cry. I'm getting a little emotional. That's okay. But yeah, it was really sweet. And okay, so back to not crying. Yeah, it's just like it's just like that, like giving yourself that space. It doesn't matter where you are. You're probably at home, maybe you're in quarantine like me, and that's just fine. Like, that's great. So just treat yourself like that, like you're like God's taking care of you, and take care of yourself the way that you desire to be taken care of, and that helps you also attract more of that care into your life, which is a very nice component of your union with your twin flame as you cultivate that deeper love. And you don't need to wait for anyone to give it to you, and isn't that nice? It's really nice. So yeah, that's going to conclude this reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. I feel like it was a little bit, it's funny, like I haven't done this in so long. I found myself pausing a lot. I don't know if that's why exactly, but that's cool. It was a great reading, and the cards are beautiful, and they go together very nicely. I mean, they always do. Oracle cards are pretty generally, but yeah, I like them. I like how this image is in the middle here and here. And then we have this like presence kind of. So yes, I hope that you have a wonderful kind of start. You're kickstarting February here and moving on into Valentine's Day. So yeah, just remember to give yourself all the love, and that also means extending then that love to others in a way that's going to feel very natural. Like you're not even extending it. It's just like, oh, boom, there it is. I loved myself, and hey, here I am loving you too. So yeah, cool. Oh yeah, you can like this. I always like that. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I'm almost at 500, so that's gonna be fun to just be like, oh, woohoo, over 500. And I feel like my channel, we'll see how it grows from there. I feel like I'm like, okay, once I get over that, so we'll see if that's true, right? Okay, cool. Well, take care. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I sure did, and I will see you next time. Bye.